ProMovies are doing another install today. Today we are doing a front and rear camera system for this 2008 Cadillac. What we're going to do is install a front viewing monitored camera with LCD screen by the rear view mirror, and also a secondary camera in the back window for rear facing footage. Now this, obviously people put these in to protect themselves from insurance fraud or other reasons. But today we're going to be putting in using this kit. Now today we're using this Cobra Drive HD kit, CDR-895D. I'll go ahead and post an unboxing link in the description so you can actually see what's included. But basically with this system we have two cameras. They link together. This camera has the LCD screen on the back, and then it's all powered by a cigarette lighter or electrical power point connection. And like I said in my unboxing, we can hardwire it using a female socket where it basically plugs in there, and then this wires into switch power source where it's on when the key is on, and that supplies power to our cameras. So we're going to go and get started here. Like I said, this will go by the rear view mirror. This one will go in the back window. And then we have about 20 feet of cable here as an extension for our back camera. We have a Y splitter. One end goes to the back camera, the other end goes to this camera, and then this end plugs in to our PowerPoint. So we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll show you from here. All right, here we are in the car. So I chose this location right here. The suction cup just went right below the mount for the mirror. We put this in here. Now, what's coming off here is our splitter that came with the kit. This USB end will go to our power supply, and then this end connects to our rear camera through that long extension cable. Now what we're going to do is we're going to begin tucking it up between the window and the headliner, working our way over this direction. Now one end will go down for our power supply, the other end will head back towards the rear of the vehicle for the rear camera. All right, so I got our camera in here. And what I've done here is this is kind of like the control panel held on with just clips in this Cadillac. It pops down. It kind of gives me a little bit more place to run cabling. Just right up in this pocket. Now if your vehicle doesn't have this, no big deal. You can still run wiring, but it's made it a little bit more convenient. What I did is I fed the wires up through just so it looks a little bit cleaner. Now from here, we're going to run our extension. A little blurry. This guy goes to our extension and then to the rear camera, and then this guy will go to our USB connection. So we're going to go ahead and plug those in and start running cabling down the side. Okay, so back up here we got our rear camera extension and our power supply cable. I fed them back up through here and just started tucking them along over through the A-pillar here, and then we came to this point. I pulled the weather stripping down a little bit. Now our power supply cable will go down and work our way down to its power source, and our video cable will actually go back along the seam here to the back to the rear of the vehicle, if that makes sense. Okay, so what we've done with our rear camera is we just pulled back the stripping and just tucked it up underneath. Now, a lot of you may argue that this is not a good route because we got the airbag here. What I've done is I've routed it, and you can kind of see the cable just right here at the top behind the seam. We do not want to interfere whatsoever with the airbag or its deployment in the event there is an accident. So stay as close to the seam as you can. If this is totally in the way and you feel more comfortable, run it down, and you can do it across the kick panels on the floor. Totally up to you. I've continued the cabling all the way to here at this point, and I have finished here. Now I'm going to keep going right along this seam, just tucking it, and then there's a little space up here in the back. We're going to run this all the way down and find a good place to mount our rear camera. All right, so at this point, rather than having all the cabling of the cigarette lighter, we're going to hardwire it into the car using this female socket. It's a 12-volt power supply socket. And basically our USB adapter plugs in there, kind of like any cigarette lighter. And then the leads here are positive and negative. Positive red being negative black. And what I did is put these little connectors on here, these spade terminals. And what we're going to use, grab them here for you, are these guys. Now these pinch on to the wire and then these terminals, speed terminals, plug here in the back, making a connection. So we actually don't have to cut any wire. I'll show you where to locate wire in this Cadillac specifically, but for you and your install, if this is more of a universal guide for you, just select or locate any switch power source, meaning the wire is on or hot when the key is on, and the key on only, because you don't want to drain any sort of battery or things like that. So we're going to go ahead and install this in the car and show you what that looks like. Okay, now on the power side from our camera that we came down here, that USB, what I did, since we wired this up, little female socket, located power that's only on when the key's on, which is this pink guy, and then ground, which is this black and white stripe guy. So I connected that in there. If you feel more comfortable putting an inline fuse, go ahead and do so. I know this is also fused, so I'm not too worried about it. It goes to this point where our little socket plugs in there, then our USB. Now this basically activates the camera. When we put the key in, it'll turn things on, and it'll turn off the camera when the key is off. No more manual plug in, unplug motion. So we're going to clean this up, make it look nice, back behind this panel, put this panel back on, which is just held on with clips, and then I'll show you what we did in the back. Alright, so this is where we left off here. We tucked the wire up underneath, and then there's a nice little gap here on your vehicle. It may differentiate. And then here, this is where we plugged in the camera. As you can see, it's nice and mounted to the window, and you can adjust it. On this model specifically, you can, same thing in the front, this pops down. That's where we put all our additional cable here because it was a little long. But that's our back camera here, so that's good to go. Alright, I got this panel all back on, super clean, can't see any of the wiring going across here. And I got this panel all clipped back up there as well. So we got our camera here. So let's go ahead and put the key in, and you kind of see how it looks when it boots up. One-handed. There it goes. Okay, perfect. Now, the nice thing is it'll begin recording as soon as you turn on the car. Since it has a looping feature, it'll go ahead and actually delete old footage that isn't saved, or important footage that you've archived or protected. So this is super easy to maintain. The back camera is plugged in, so both front and rear camera are recording. At this point, this install is good to go. Now, as you notice, if I take the key out, it'll ask me if I want to continue recording. Because it does have internal battery, I can say yes. In this circumstance, we'll just go ahead, let it time out, or you can hit no, and it will boot off. So there we go. That's how you add a dual camera or single camera system in your vehicle. Kind of a universal install for you. This was for a 2008 Cadillac. I'll post a little bit more info in the description below in case you have a similar Cadillac. Thanks guys for watching the channel, and we will be sure to see you guys in the next video.